Cruz again, knowing the Constitution, fighting for the Constitution, successfully defended the Constitution, and Texas won its case. In a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court ruled that International Court of Justice decisions were not binding in any domestic law, and that the president had no power to enforce them. Jose Medellin received the justice he deserved. In the process, Ted Cruz had taken on a brutal, illegal, alien murderer, Mexico, the Geneva Convention, the International Court of Justice, and most difficult of all, his old boss, the head of his so-called party, and the President of the United States, George W. Bush. Said of Ted Cruz at a recent fundraiser, "I just don't like the guy." George, I'll bet you don't, because, quite frankly, Ted Cruz kicked your ass. In a judicial way, I mean. It's why the rest of the establishment in the Republican Party, quote, just doesn't like the guy, end quote. Ted Cruz stands for principles, values, integrity, and the United States Constitution. The establishment stands for the party, for themselves, for their own power, and that's it. So let me ask this question. Does this sound like your candidate? Does he possess these qualities? Think about that. There is a candidate in this race who has stood up to the powers that be, who fought the establishment, who has been outspoken on issues important to conservatives, and who has been consistent throughout his life. He is a guy who has bucked the outside and the inside of his own party because it was the right thing to do. It's a little bit like the American David and Goliath story. The little guy against the giants. My money always goes on the little guy. As long as that little guy knows exactly who he is and looks at the king and says, I don't need any of this armor. It will only slow me down. I know who I am, and I know who I serve, and that's why I know I'll win. While everyone else says, my past is irrelevant, the supporters of Ted Cruz say, you can't really know a man unless you understand his past.